Yes, hello. Hello and welcome to Marble, a Swiss Army knife for maps. My name is Torsten Rahn and I'm a software architect and Qt specialist working for Basiscom. Basiscom is a company where we enjoy to create easy to use and appealing user interfaces, mostly for mobile and handset devices. And while my work at Basiscom is not directly most of the time related to Marble, this presentation will also be about a very easy to use and appealing application. Who of you have heard about Marble already? Okay, and who has actually used it? Okay, cool, great. So most of you will most likely know Marble as a user application, and that is what most people will likely see when they, for example, install SUSE on their PCs and browse the menu. And Marble can be used for finding your way and exploring exploring the world. So on one hand, it can be used as an application for doing routing and stuff. And on the other hand, you could use it to discover the world, not only the current world, but as you can see on this particular screenshot up there, you can browse through historic maps. In this case, it's the Beheim globe, a globe which was created back in 1492, which is displayed inside Marble here, and where I actually know a student who's doing her diploma thesis with Marble regarding the Beheim globe. And down there you can see another example of Marble use, this time in a different application, because in addition to being just a user application, Marble can also be used as a ready-made component that can be included with other applications. Maybe you know Digicam as a different application which is making use of Marble. And in this particular case, Marble shows the path of a solar eclipse. Marble itself is free software, licensed under the LGPL 2+, which helps a lot when you want to use Marble inside a different application, because you can use it either in free software applications, but it's also possible to use it in commercial closed applications. So that was one of the reasons we licensed it under the LGPL 2+ to allow for this. And in addition to being a showcase for free software, we also are basically a showcase for free maps, because out of the box we ship Marble with free map material. That doesn't mean that Marble wouldn't be able to display other maps. Actually, it can, but that is basically what we want to support, and that is what gets distributed with a normal Marble edition. I already mentioned that Marble is basically can be used in order to learn about the world, so for education. And actually one example where a different company used Marble, a modified version of Marble, is the Austrian Atlas Hölzel, which includes a special Marble version with their printed Atlas books for the students for use in the classroom. The current version of Marble is the version 1.4, which got released back in August, and the whole Marble is built on the Qt software library, and that is also the only dependency. So while you maybe know the KDE version of Marble, there's also an additional version of Marble which just relies on Qt and doesn't require the KDE libraries. And since Qt is the only dependency, it's also pretty easy to build different versions of Marble for different platforms. Like right now we support not only Linux and OpenSUSE, but also Windows, Mac OS X, and we also have mobile versions of Marble for the Nokia the Nokia phone N900 and the N9, where Marble also runs and allows to find the way through the world. Marble itself is a pure community project. Where the project has been basically started back in September 2006, where I pushed the source code, the first snippets of the source code, into KDE SVN, into the KDE repository. And since then, more than 140 people have taken part in Marble. We currently have about 120,000 commits. The Marble application is translated in more than 30 languages fully, and we even provide voice navigation, translated voice navigation for Marble, so that you can hear the turn-by-turn instructions in Marble in 18 languages. Inside Marble, you can display the world in different topics. You can show a plain topographic map. That is what Marble starts up with. And in addition to that, we provide a satellite view, plane map, OpenStreetMap, and then several other maps, like, for example, the different historic maps for the different centuries. In total, we currently offer more than 40 other ready-made map themes. And one special example that we display down there is the Open Sea Map, where sailors can look up light buoys and the sailor's yarn. Then in addition to showing the world using different topics, you can also change the planet if you want to. Just don't forget the towel. And you can, for example, download maps for the moon, which actually gets provided with the default distribution already. You can see up there a screenshot of the crater Tycho, which is one of the most prominent craters on the moon, displayed in Marble, and in this tab on the left you see the selection of the different map themes, where the user can choose from different maps. And at the bottom you can see on the right the earliest drawing that was made of the moon back in 1609 by some Englishman called Thomas Harriot, who used the telescope for the very first time to draw the moon. So, and if you compare it to the actual photos of the moon, it's remarkably close to what can be seen with a photo. On the left, you can see Marble showing another historic map from Schiaparelli, who thought he would be able to see canali on the moon, and where other people then later on thought, okay, so there must be people on the moon or something like that. So these are examples for some of the map themes that you can view using Marble. Then, while we are into the topic of astronomy already, there is something noteworthy about the use case of Marble used in space science. Marble has, during the last 2 years, participated in a program from the European Space Agency, the Summer of Code in Space, where we had 2 students working on our satellite plugin. Last year, Guillaume Matres worked on providing displaying satellites inside Marble for the Earth. And this year, Irene Küttner extended that plugin to also have support for the orbiters that currently orbit Mars. There are about 4 orbiters which continuously circle around Mars, and it makes sense, of course, to have these displayed around Mars as well. Additionally, there's also support, of course, for Venus orbiters and Moon orbiters. Let's have a quick video about that one. So this is about how one would start it. In the background you can see the sun and even the real stars. On the Earth itself you see the cloud coverage, which is real-time cloud coverage, and around that you now see all the satellites which are placed in the low orbit around Earth. And then we switch to the planet Mars and we see, oh, basically the satellites seem to be gone, and they are. What you now see is basically what a normal user would not do, and that is the reason why we ship Marble, or why we will ship Marble with that data ready-made already. So this is basically what just an advanced user would do, who would do research. He's adding sim URL where the data about the Mars satellite can be fetched from, and that is currently located on a KDE server. And now that it's there, we can see that once he has enabled all the satellites for the different planets, that we can see the Mars Express, which is a European mission, a European orbiter. And in addition, around Mars you can see even the moons Phobos and Deimos, which are also part of that data set. Now you can see how we switched the viewing angle. And there's some orbit visualization. You can basically paint the orbit. Notice that this orbit doesn't seem to be circular or elliptical. And that the reason, of course, is that this is the orbit in the system of the rotated Mars, basically. And now you can see how Mars Express moves inside that visualization. The whole rendering currently is done in software, so it's pure software rendering, and we are working already on some additional render path which allows for OpenGL rendering. Here you can see how one can change the time. The reason here is we want to show the SMART mission, which took place back in 2004, and eventually the probe crashed on the moon, and so currently it wouldn't be visible. But if we go back in time and watch the moon, then we can see the SMART 1 mission. So that's about it. So that was a quick peek how you could use Marble for research in space science related to the topic of satellites. Yeah, then we have another example of use from one of our co-developers who is doing some research. He works as a research fellow at the Research Center for Information Technology in Karlsruhe. And his working areas are cognitive vehicles, road sign recognition, and traffic light recognition. And for all these chapters of research, he has used Marble now and then inside his own applications. adjusted the marble widget, our ready-made component that you can basically put into your own application so that it would fit the use case. And as you probably figured, that whole research all centers on autonomous cars. Here is an example for such a car that they worked with. It's an Audi Q5, and that has several sensors and cameras and laser scanners packed into it to do that research on autonomous driving. And Marble actually got used for the dashboard of that vehicle. And the user interface is based on QML, Qt Quick. And what you see here basically is such a user interface based on the Qt components library, which is put on top of Qt. And on the right, you see on one hand that Marble in this particular case does not use free data, but in this particular case it actually uses the satellite maps from Google. And on top we have some KML overlay and the source position marked. And we have again a video for that one. Oops. Damn. No. Ah, okay. Okay, here we go. So this is that autonomous car approaching the parking space. If you look inside, you can see that, well, there are people inside, but the guy is not actually driving. This is the perfect car for me because I don't really drive a car, I don't own a car, but I think I'd sit and try that, especially since Marble is used, so I know that it works. So here we can see how it approaches the parking space, and hopefully once we look inside with a few frames where you could then see basically Marble at work. That should be coming in a second or so. Or did they show it already? I didn't pay attention. Did they have that? Ah, yeah, here it is. And there you can see basically the dashboard on the right up there, where Marble is used in order to display the trajectory. And you can see how, without having an actual driver, that car finds its way into the parking space. And well, during this research project, Dennis found that Marble is really easy to integrate into your own application, and that it's very, very powerful. Oops. Hello? Why doesn't it? It's in the background. Ah, that's why. Or no, I don't get it. Oh, now it works. Okay, sorry. So I already told you about the different map themes that exist for Marble that are readily available. Of course, you can also create your own map themes. And in addition to the free map data that, for example, can be used from OpenStreetMap. Marble technically has built-in support for other proprietary data, like, for example, Google Maps, OV Maps, and we also support some open standards, like, for example, TMS support and WMS support, and you can even create your own custom storage layouts for the maps that are available. You can also blend different layers of textures that are provided through these tile server layouts, so that you can put, for example, hill shading or an Earth at night map on top of the street maps. Then I mentioned already that we have a special version for mobile, since most of the functionality, or since basically all of the functionality for Marble is located inside a library. It was pretty easy for us to just write a different application targeted at the Nokia N9 or Nokia N950, where Marble would use Qt Quick in order, and Qt components in order to provide a UI that is optimized for the phone or handset case. You can see it here on the right, where Marble is used to find the way. And here are a few other screenshots of the Nokia N9 user interface, where you can see that compared to the desktop, where you have lots of menu entries, this has been a lot simplified. On the upper left, you can see Marble using the space activity. Then you can see here on the right the list view that allows to choose between different map themes, and in the middle we have the downloader for the routing material that can be used to do offline routing in the different countries. I already mentioned that we support several open standards, not only in terms of tile server layout, but also in terms of file formats. For example, we support the very popular KML format, which was introduced by Google Earth in order to display user data. Then we support the OSM file format, which is used by OSM mappers. And the Esri shapefile support has also been recently added as an optional file format, and that is also very important in the GIS world. And for people who run around with GPS devices and want to save their tracks, we also have support for GPS and GPX. Here's a bit of an overview over the feature set regarding routing and navigation. We have online and offline routing mixed together, blended together, so that Marble would query the different routing plugins, maybe online or offline plugins, and then returns the best result that it gets from all those different routing plugins. As an example for online routing, we have those services like Yours, ORS, OSRM, and recently we added MapQuest with the last release. And for offline routing, we use other libraries like Monav or Routino or Gosmore. And as I said in the introduction already, we have support for turn-by-turn voice navigation. The files itself, the way we save the files, is compatible with the way that TomTom files are saved. So we have those over 80 instructions that people volunteered to record and to make them available under a free license so that we could use them. And they were specially created for Marble, for the Marble application. Another interesting feature that got added recently is the elevation profile plugin, which allows to display the elevation of some route. That is, of course, useful if you ride a bicycle and go into the Alps and want to see how much of an effort it is to get to some place. Then another thing that we added during the 2 last Google Summer of Code projects was vector rendering. So far, most of the map themes that I've shown to you were texture-based, bitmap-based map themes. So that means that whenever you zoom into Marble, at times, for example, OpenStreetMap might look blurry, and that is, of course, a conceptual problem. And in order to avoid that, we want to basically render the whole OpenStreetMap or the street maps using vectors. And Konstantin Oblaukov and Anda Piochan made some major efforts in order to reach this aim, and it works quite well already. You can, as I said already, you can visualize .osm files inside Marble. You can load them. I can quickly show that. Oops. Quit. And if I go, for example, to this and start Marble, then Marble starts, and I'll just quickly switch to OpenStreetMap. And here you can now basically see the surrounding of this area around this campus. And if you look closely, you can see that this looks this looks sharp, no matter how I zoom in. But as soon as I go out, I see that around there's the blurry texture map starting already. So in the center you can see the vector rendering, and in the outer parts you can see the textures. The vector rendering, of course, has also the advantage that features become accessible and clickable through the mouse. And what we aim for is basically having a vector representation that covers the full map. That is something where under Piochan developed some excellent prototype this year. Here again is some comparison between the blurry texture map and basically the vector map, which then also has the place marks rendered by Marble. Another thing that we had this year going was the OpenGL mode that I mentioned already, which we are aiming for to have as an alternative where it's supported, and the natural earth vector map, which is supposed to replace the topographic map. And then we had the Foursquare plugin created by Utku Aydin, who is also present at this conference, since we are also hosting the Marble conference, since we have the Marble conference here in parallel to the OpenSUSE conference. Yeah, that's basically all about Marble in a nutshell, about this Swiss Army knife. If you want to find out more information about Marble, then you can go to our website or to our mailing list, or if you want to have the latest bleeding edge news, then you can follow us on the social networks, Facebook or Google+, or you go and chat with us on IRC. Okay, or you can also pick up one of those printed sheets where there's also more information. And if you want to support the Marble project, don't hesitate to buy a t-shirt outside. There we sell some t-shirts there for €15 at the merchandising booth. Thank you.
Thank you very much.